Hey guys, you're speaking to Nick here from Honest Nick Reviews. Today I will be reviewing the iPhone 6s Plus and the Google Nexus 6P. Both of these phones did release in September 2015, so they are a bit old right now. But to be honest, I think they're actually bigger contenders than the contenders that have released this year so far, such as the Samsung Galaxy A7, LG G5 and HTC 10. So let's get started with these phones. First thing we want to do here is power them up to see how quick they boot, both of them. So there we go. Google going, Apple going. Literally the rivalry here. These guys could literally be in a team deathmatch and fight for each other's heart because these are the two biggest phones of the world. So let's get into a few things while they boot. Oh geez, okay, no need to get into some things over there. iPhone is already there. Let's slide to unlock, plug in my pin. Okay, have to unlock my SIM. Let me unlock my SIM here. Already done those two. Oh, don't want to block my SIM now. Okay, so that is entered successfully. So I've done all of that already. Nexus 6P is still booting up. Let's go on our calculator because we are such inquisitive beings and we want to know what 5,985 plus 5 is, and it's 5,990. Okay, so Android is popping up over there now, and it's there. There is the Android. So before we get into some things over here, let's now look at the bodies. So on the right side over here, we have both of them rocking a lock button over there. So the iPhone's a little bit higher up, as you can see. This is made for Nexus convenience. On the right here, we also have the volume rocker of the Nexus 6P, and on the left of the phone, of the iPhone, we have the volume rocker on the left with two separate volume rockers, so that you can feel where they are. The Nexus is just aligned, although this is a little bit lifted over here. Those of you, I hope yours is also lifted, whilst there's something wrong with mine, but the bottom is a bit lifted, so you can kind of feel where the bottom is. Nexus is a bit more convenient. Hold it like this. You can see my thumb is right over there on the volume key. When I have the iPhone, hold it like this. Can't do anything there, have to literally shift my hand up to find the volume key and do that, or I can just use my left hand. But then again, sometimes you want to use one hand with your phone, especially if you're dialing and driving, which you should not be doing, just by the way. Okay, so moving on, we have the SIM card slot right over there on the iPhone, on the left, on the right of the phone. The Nexus, we have it on the left of the phone. None of them have an SD card slot in it like the S7 or the G5. Then we move on to the top, so the tops of the phone. We have a clean slate there for the iPhone. We have the earphone jack there for the Nexus 6P. Move it around to the bottom. We have the earphone jack there for the iPhone, and we have the two charger ports over there. When you come to earphone jacks, it might be a bit annoying having the jack at the top of the Nexus, or it might look a bit ugly for those of you freaks. But when you hold your phone like this, it doesn't matter where your placement is in the portrait view, it will not be obstructed by your hand. Where if you have it stuck in the iPhone, it might nudge into your finger there, but if you have any portrait games or you're texting while listening to music and your little pinky decides to get in the way over there, that might kind of suck. But it's not a deal breaker for anyone. So charger port wise, we have the Lightning USB port for the iPhone, which has been around since the iPhone 5, and then obviously 5S, 6, and now 6S and 6S Plus. So with the Nexus, we have the brand new USB port Type-C, which has now ditched the old micro USB port found still on the Samsungs. Come on Samsung, wake up a bit. Anyway, so apparently, interesting feature, as much as Android may have stolen a few of Google's perks, they are now going to be adopting the USB port Type-C in their iPhone 7. Apparently, I stand to be corrected. Let's see what happens in September. Okay, so I've actually had both of the cords here. We have the Type-C cord over there. They're both interchangeable. Plug it in that way, flick the phone around, plug it in, doesn't matter which way it goes, throw that guy over there. We have the iPhone over here, can also be interchangeable. These cables do break quite easily though, I find on the iPhones. My fiance's and mine and a few of my family members, they find that they break, they are kind of weak, but just take care of them and you should be fine. We are a bit of a crazy bunch, so that's what happens there. Okay, so charger ports done, everything done over here. Other than that, we do have the screen. I will get to the specs of the screen in a moment, but for the time being, let's talk about how they actually feel. They feel extremely premium. Sliding your finger across them feels great. Maybe the iPhone a tad little bit better. If you do go with the iPhone, you will notice a cool thing over here. When your finger goes around the edge, it kind of falls off. The screen goes all the way. With the Nexus, it feels like it goes and then it hits the border over here of the phone. So it's got that little bit of sharp feeling there. But when you have a cover on, which you will, because you do not want to damage any of these expensive phones, even though the iPhone is twice as much, especially the iPhone, especially because it is very slippery because of these round edges around the whole phone over here. The Nexus is also a bit round, but it has quite a tough edge over there. It does kind of roll down over here, so it's more comfortable in the hand as it is a phablet. iPhones is as well, but it kind of goes off the edge more to the end of the phone. So these guys both have very strong screens over here. Obviously what you would expect for a premium device like these screens. If you have a look down over here, you will notice that, well, you actually won't notice it because unless you're here, you'll be able to feel it. They both feel great. With the finger, I think the iPhone is a little bit smoother, but yes, the iPhone has an ion strengthened glass over here, which makes it very, very hard to scratch with oleophobic coating. I don't think I can get that word right, hopefully I did. The oleophobic coating is also on the Nexus 6P. On the Nexus 6P, it has Gorilla Glass 4, which is more standard with AMOLED screens that you'll find from the likes of Samsung. Okay, and then other than that, and the last awesome hardware physical body design feature of the iPhone 6s Plus is this little mute toggle guy over here. As soon as you mute it, it will mute any music, any games, any phone calls that might come in, any messages. So if you don't want someone to know that you're going to get a message, quickly flick that. You can obviously mute on the Nexus as well, but you have to do it through the notifications panel, obviously. So yeah, that is it for the muting. So next is the fingerprint sensors. The placement of the sensor on the iPhone is at the bottom here, integrated within the home button. This works as a button and as a fingerprint sensor. On the back of the Nexus 6P, that is where the home for the fingerprint sensor is on the 6P. It goes nice and vertically with the Nexus logo over here. So yes, we have that there. This is not a physical button. Its only purpose is for the fingerprint sensor, which some of you may prefer, some of you may not. If you turn the phone down around over here, when we pick up the iPhone, you can either unlock it on the side and then use the fingerprint sensor, or you can click it and then it should go straight in, and it does. The old iPhone 6 doesn't do that. When you click it, it will go to the lock screen and wait until you put it down on the fingerprint sensor, which is exactly how the Samsung Galaxy S7 still works. Are they really improving their cell phones? Let's see. The Nexus, you just lightly put your finger there, you'll see it's locked. As soon as I flip it around, it should be open. And it is, because it is that quick. This is where LG got their design inspired from. I do see that I have some strange thing going on here. Arms only. Okay, let's forget about that. So let's do a quick test on these two phones. I have both my hands synced with both of these sensors. So let's do it from off. Let's go. Oh fuck. So we go over here. It's not working. There we go. Okay, iPhone is actually happening now. I think it will be a lot easier if I use the iPhone in my right hand, considering where the placement of it is. So let's go from it being completely off. See my finger over there. Let's go. So Nexus definitely faster. Let's try one more time. Nexus definitely faster. One last time. You will see that with the iPhone it actually works straight away as well, but the icons were coming in like that. So if you look closely over here, it does open quite quick, but then the icons come in. I don't know why it's actually taking quite a while to open now, but as soon as it goes in, you see the background and then the icons just whoop. Okay, so that is it for the fingerprint sensors on these phones. Okay, so now let's get down to some of the raw specs of these premium proper smartphones of this day today. We have both awesome screens on these phones. On the Nexus 6P over here, you'll see that the screen is a tad bigger. This is a 5.7 inch display from corner to corner, where the iPhone is a 5.5 inch display from corner to corner. This is an AMOLED screen, similar to all the Samsungs. This is the first time Nexus has brought the AMOLED screen to the pot. Everyone thought that maybe the iPhone would adopt this, also considering that their Apple Watches are in fact AMOLED screens. But yeah, anyway, so 5.5 inches, 5.7 inches. We have 518 ppi, which is pixel per inch density on the Nexus, and we have 401 ppi on the iPhone 6s Plus. The reason for that is mainly because of the AMOLED screen. It can just capture those colors better, make them more vibrant, but also saturate them a bit too much. If you have a look over here, take the Google Maps app for example, iPhone there, Nexus over there. Just take a look at the colors right next to each other. You can see the colors are very, very vibrant and saturated on the Nexus, which is actually really, really cool for your apps and for your games. But when you're taking a photo and you're trying to compare these phones to something in the real world environment, you'll notice that the Nexus tries to oversaturate its colors to make the photo look better, and the iPhone just makes it look the way it is in real life, which is great. But personally, for apps, usage, music, anything like that, the AMOLED screen is amazing. So when we get to the daylight on the screen, the AMOLED screen does handle light a little bit better when light is hitting directly onto it, but no issues either way. I think I have full brightness on both of these guys over here, so when you're outside you should have no issue looking at them at all. Okay, now when we get to the batteries, both of these phones are 7.3 millimeters thick in size, but the Nexus seems to put a bigger battery in it. How is that possible? They're both lithium-ion batteries. Anyway, so the Nexus has a 3450 milliamp battery, and the iPhone 6s Plus has a 2750 milliamp battery. So the Nexus almost being 1000 milliamps more, to be exact 700. So that is quite a big difference. But why? Oh why, iPhone? I know why. Because you know how to optimize your phone correctly. Yes, and that is why your battery lasts even longer than the Nexus's battery. Yes, I said that correctly. The iPhone's battery lasts longer than the Nexus 6P. And why is that? Because iPhone really knows how to design their apps and how to integrate their software to better the battery, to optimize the battery, where with the Nexus, they take the battery, they throw it in the phone, and they hope to God that this will work nice and smoothly on the phone, which it does. No joke, this phone is a killer at battery use. I have no issues with both phones day to day, running from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. They both last a whole day with ample battery left to spare. The cool thing on the Nexus, which will make it maybe a little bit better than the iPhone, is a mode called Doze. Doze is an app which optimizes your battery when your phone goes to sleep when you lock the screen. Once you've locked the screen, it goes into a deep hibernation and only allows apps such as the ones that you tick. For me, it's uTorrent. Sorry, I am a bit of a pirater. WhatsApp and phone services, and everything else will have their networks blocked to preserve the battery usage. Okay, so next we will then go into the storage capacity. Both of these phones come with a 32 gig, 64 gig, and 128 gig storage. There is sadly no micro USB support on both of these, and these slots are for strictly SIM only. So whatever you get, you will be stuck with. These are both 64 gigs in comparison, and they both run rather fast when transferring files between each other. So when we get into more heavy specs, we will talk about the RAM. The RAM of these phones comes down to how many apps you can open in one go. So you can open both of them just as easy. A lot of apps stay in the background for just as long. If we open a few apps over here, let's try Angry Birds 2 there, Angry Birds 2 there. I'm just gonna close them up, and the iPhone has decided to auto-rotate itself. That really sucks. Anyway, let's go find Temple Run 2 there, Temple Run 2 there. Let's close these over here, and let's go into Temple Run 1 here. This is not a speed test, so if I'm clicking it at a different time, I'm sorry if that upsets you, but I will do a bit of a speed test later. So I've just opened 3 games over here in the background, maybe open a Google Chrome as well, just to see how these phones run. So as you saw, when I opened these games and apps up, I didn't let them load. Let's see how they do now that we go back to them. Let's click here, Angry Birds 2. They're still loading and they're still starting up. They need to obviously start up before they can get going. Let's go and find Temple Run on both phones. So the iPhone's actually going in on Temple Run. There goes the Nexus. Oh, there's a little bit of a issue there on that guy. Okay, let's see here. Now let's go through to Temple Run 2 on both phones. Click them open. Both loading, trying to connect over here. Okay, iPhone already in. I do not want to be a game user at this very moment. Thank you, Mr. Nexus. So they both seem to run their things rather quick in the background. When they're open, obviously a little bit better. But the strange thing is, this guy has 2 gigs of RAM, and this guy has 3 gigs of RAM. But the iPhone seemed to perform a little bit better in that test. Why, Mr. Apple? Because of optimization. Okay, so let's go into the next thing, the chipset of these phones. The Nexus 6P has a Snapdragon 810 chipset in it. This is, the chipset. What am I talking about here? Okay, so this chipset is actually last year's model. This year it has been replaced by the Snapdragon 820, which is found in the G5, HTC 10, and the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. The chipset in the iPhone 6s has now been replaced, the old one being the A8 chip, this one being Apple's A9 chip, which performs phenomenally well and gets a lot less hot when you are playing games and doing things on your phone, which is great. When it comes down to CPU, the Google Nexus 6P has a quad-core 1.5 GHz Cortex A53 and a quad-core 2.0 GHz Cortex A57, giving you a total of 8 cores. That is super. So when we get to the iPhone, we have a whole dual core. Yeah, 2 cores is great. 1.8 gigahertz twister. But why are you so great, Mr. Apple? I don't know. I think it's because I am optimized. Yes, Mr. Apple is optimized, such as everything else. You see, when it comes down to the hardware department, the hardware comes to me deciding whether these phones are better or worse. And no, do not look at the specs. When it comes to an iPhone, you know you're getting a premium grade product that can do everything, if not better, than any Android product. I'm not being biased. I've used so many Android phones so much longer than any iPhone. I do prefer Android phones. I think it's great to have the customizability of them. But Apple is a good solid device. It opens apps great, it starts up great, it does everything perfectly fast. Do not look at the hardware specs. I promise you they do not matter when coming to an Apple. Sure, when comparing apples of Android phones to Android phones, look at the specs. Don't be stupid. Okay, so when we get to more of these phones, you will notice that the graphics are quite good when you saw me opening those apps up earlier, and that is because the Nexus 6P has last year's Adreno 430 GPU chip in it. That is a good graphics card. This year has been replaced by the 530. I don't personally think it's been improved too much based on the S7 and the G5 that I've used, but it's still great. It still has good coloring. It still does really well in all environments. The Apple has a PowerVR GT 7600 6-core graphics. Apple, way to make your graphics card sound great. It really does sound great, but does it perform great? Yes! And that is because it's optimized. So that is it for the hardware specs. Okay, now let's unlock these puppies to see what is potting with the software department. The sweaty finger really gets to me with the stupid cell phone. Come on! Thank you! Jeez, why can't you be more like Nexus? Anyway, so let's get going. Software-wise, this is stock Android. Yes, stock Android. Who else has stock Android? No one! This is stock Android. Why? Because Google makes Android and Google makes Nexus. Clever, clever, clever guys. So this is running Marshmallow 6.0.1, which is the latest updated software. Nexus gets their build version as soon as it's released. As soon as Google is done with their version, optimizing everything that needs to be optimized, making sure everything is running perfect, Google gets it straight away. Samsung will probably get it 6 months to a year later, which sucks for them. Luckily, I have a Nexus. Anyway, let's move on to the Apple. So the Apple device over here is running iOS 9.3.2 at the moment to date. Maybe if you're watching this video in the future, please do not make rude comments about this, because this is today on the 29th of May 2016. So keep up with it, people. So both of these obviously get their releases straight away. As soon as they're available, they will pop up on your phone ready for an update. Let's go through some of the awesome things on these phones. So the Nexus being stock Android, there is no bloatware. Samsung, 2 calendars, 2 music apps, 2 picture apps, 2 this, 2 that, 2 this, 2 that. Nexus, this is what you get. Use it and it will work well. I promise you. And it works well. It has almost been made the way Apple has been made, making it nice and simple and easy. But going into an Android, you obviously expect to have a nice little app tray over here so that you can make your home screen look nice and classy for yourself. And if you want to show your friends a few games, or you want to play a few games, they're all sitting over here right by the search. With Apple over here, you do not have an app drawer, which an Android phone recently tried to adopt, such as LG, but after a lot of complaints, it moved back to its app drawer theme. So over here on iOS, it doesn't let you go back to the front page. A lot of Android devices do, but you can go if you just click the home button. And if you do want to search an app, you can just type it in over here like Subway Surfers. There it is. Okay, so another thing on this software, we have a home button over here, like I've mentioned before, which is really cool to double tap because this is a phablet. If you need to get up to your messages over there, you just tap it and you are there. Now, while we are on the messages, hello, this is an Honest Nick review, people. That's really cool. Who typed that? Wasn't me. Anyway, so this is normal touch. Now, I want to move. Why won't that? I just want to see. There, that sucks ass. Why don't we use 3D touch and move it around? That is a great feature. 3D touch has really been great. This is probably one of my favorite features on 3D touch. Look for it. Let's go between and. Oh no. There we go. Okay, so awesome feature, people. Awesome feature. Let's back up out of that. Okay, so now for 3D touch, since we are on it, the 6S does come packed with 3D touch. Nothing else, no other Apple devices have it. No, there isn't. It obviously wasn't there on the iPhone 6. It was on the 6S and the 6S Plus. Not even on the new iPad Pro standard version or the huge massive version. Not even on the Apple Watch. What are they going to do with the 7? Will it be there? Is it useful? People, speak up. Tell Apple what they want to hear. So let's give it a go. Push and hold here. Take a selfie. Hello guys. Exit. There we go. Push and hold on the settings. Is there anything on the settings? No, they don't want to do that. Notes, new photo, new sketch. Very cool. Messages, new message. Okay, that's interesting. Calculator, copy result. That's very unique. I didn't even know that. Add event to your calendar. Clock, create an alarm. You see, you can all do this just by shoving your finger into the screen, hoping that it will not break. and that it will do these nice things for you. So back to the Nexus. So you had the nice home button over here on the on the iPhone. On the Nexus, you don't. You just have these integrated screen buttons over here, which is actually quite cool. On the LG, it has the same thing on the G5, which just recently released. Same thing with the G3 and the G4, both had them. The cool thing with the G series of LG is they do drop away when you want them to, depending on the apps that you optimize them to drop away for. You can go into your settings and change them. On the Nexus, unfortunately, that setting is not here. You cannot make that drop away when you go into a game. If the game supports it, it will automatically do it for you, and that is generally when there is a newer game in. So I want to try something very interesting here. Let's try and see which one of these. Okay, Google, what is the weather today?
Today's forecast for Rudaport is 21 degrees and clear.
Okay, so it did tell me the weather, but unfortunately my location is not on. So let's give it another go. Okay, Google, what is the weather today?
Today's forecast for Alberton is 21 degrees and clear.
Impressive. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. I've got this little puppy working. Hey Siri, what is the weather today?
Today, the temperature will range from 9 degrees to 12 degrees.
Thank you, Siri, but you have an ugly voice. Bye-bye. Okay, Siri and Google Now is working great. What do you not get with Siri? Oh, look at that. That's some cool goodies over there. Showing you recent stuff, search the web, showing me stuff I'm interested in, kind of. Not the greatest. Google Now though, hey? Google Now, look at this. This is based on my Google searches. It is based on what I like. I'm a Manchester United supporter. Please do not hate. I do like football, or soccer for you Americans. So yeah, shows you some general news, shows you some awesome stuff. You can make cards useful, make them non-useful, optimize them for yourself, add new cards that Google didn't pick up on. So yes, Google Now is an awesome, great feature. So when you go to something else with regards to the software, and one of the biggest things is the Play Store and the App Store. So the Play Store on Google Play Store is actually very, very nice. I don't know why this keeps happening to my Nexus. I think I keep hitting something, my volume, or I don't know, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so looks very nice on the iPhone. You can see your top charts over here. You can explore, you can search, you can get some updates. Same thing over here, top charts, games, categories, families. If you want to do updates, you can check your own stuff. So it's a little bit more organized here on the Nexus with the Play Store, because then you can just flick around to your own games and apps, and you can go look at all of them that were on your other devices. I'm sure you can do it on the iPhone as well. I do prefer the layout of the Play Store. Games over here, top charts, categories. It is very cool. It is very simple on the iPhone. I don't know, I guess I'm used to Android. Maybe you like the iStore better. I know that people say that iStore is a bit better when it does come to apps and what apps you can get and all that mumbo jumbo, but yes, that is it on the software department, except for Mr. Nexus over here has a fancy cool feature. When you turn him off, he will briefly show you the time and then it will disappear. On Samsung and LG, you have an always on display. On Nexus, you have a pick up and display. Wow, very impressive. But in a way, it kind of makes sense. You don't want to drain the battery. I do have you can get an always on display where it always shows the screen, the time on your locked screen, but Doze doesn't work with it enabled. It looks really cool. You can add calendars, you can add your notifications panel, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, but it sucks the shit out of your battery, literally. Half a day and it is dead. It sucks. Do not get it. This is cool. You can move your phone around. If you do that, it shows you the date, the time, and that's about it. Okay, so one more thing on the software department over here is the notification panels. So you will see on the iPhone, it pops up at the top here. You get to see your date and the weather. You get to see some stocks, calendar, what's happening tomorrow. Notifications can show you your notifications. You can easily just clear that over here. Boom, there we go. On the Nexus, you drop it over here. You can also tell you your weather over there if you decide to keep that card there or not, or you can just slice it away. So over here, obviously a lot more features integrated within the Nexus. You can adjust your brightness over here. You can do that for quick settings. You can, okay, that's it. So on the iPhone, well actually on the Nexus, let's see, does this work? No, what's going on here? Why is this not working? Wait, I think I'm on the wrong phone. Oh, look at that. It's amazing. Whenever you go from an iPhone to any other phone, you really miss this feature. You try flick up and it's not there. If you want to flick up and it's dark, quickly find the torch. There it is. If you want to do that on the Nexus, you have to unlock it, drop it again, figure out where it is, and then find it. I think it is a lot quicker on the iPhone, especially because you can use that when you're in the lock screen. You can use airdrop, you can change your brightness, you can jump to camera, that's your quick feature on your camera. With the Nexus, you can just double tap the lock key over there anywhere and it will open up your camera, which is really great. So yeah, that kind of wraps up the software department on these phones. Okay, so let's move it along to the camera. So both have this nice little camera pouch over here on the lock screen. On the iPhone, you'll see that on the bottom left corner there is nothing over there. There is a Google over there, so it can speak to me now. Are there so I can speak to me now? Huh, very interesting. Anyway, I don't need that. Okay, so we can flick to the camera on both. We can see, okay, so pure Android versus pure iOS. Let's see, if you take a look at the normal curtains on the camera, sorry, this is a shit iPhone 6 camera that is recording at the moment with that 8 megapixel back camera that it used to have. 12 megapixel is definitely a lot better, as you can see in this video. So there we go, it is a little bit more clear on the iPhone. Clear meaning it's a bit more natural, picks up the light a little bit more naturally, but it does kind of fuzz things out. But in a way it kind of looks like that in reality. I think that the AMOLED panel on the Nexus is actually just saturating those colors and making them look, you know, very, very, very awesome, but not very realistic. When you take the photo and you send it to a friend, he will think it is a great photo. But wait, what's going on here? Oh yeah. I thought they were inverted cameras. Okay, so yeah, so I don't think it's the camera of the Nexus. I think that it is the panel. It is the screen, the AMOLED screen. So yeah, there's that. Selfies over here. You check me out with the selfie cams. Ooh, there we go. You can see me on both. You'll see that the one is flipped the other way. Is that happening? I'm not 100% sure. Okay, anyway, Manchester United fan over there, as you can see. So yeah, you can see the coloring over here of my Puma jersey. It really looks great on the Nexus, undoubtedly, but I think it looks a bit more realistic on the iPhone. So, flip those cameras around again. You can see the interface over here. On the Nexus, you have to click at the top left corner to try choose your photosphere, which is really cool. You can pull the phone up and down. Actually, let me just give you a little bit of a shot of that. So let's keep the dot inside. Okay, it's got the dot. Okay, now we need to connect the dots. So it's like a cool kiddies game. So you just connect the dot, and then let's. Oh, what the fuck happened there? What's going on? Let's connect the dot. Oh no! What is happening? Oh, there. You can just connect dots everywhere, and it's fun. But then you can click done, and once it's done, it looks like that, which is not that great. Okay, so maybe once it's done processing the photo, hold on, let's have a look here. Is anything gonna happen? processing. No. Okay, let's just forget about that mode over there. Thank you, Google, but please make that better. Okay, so panorama, lens blur, slow motion. You can also optimize the settings, change the resolution. This is 16:9, so it's actually running at 8 megapixels. Then you just slide to the right to get your video recorder going. With the iPhone, most of your modes are actually at the bottom here. Changing your resolution, panoramic view, video, slow motion, time lapse. Video in slow motion and 4K I do think is better on the iPhone. And why is that? That is because of its optical image stabilization in this puppy over here, which is superb. No optical image stabilization in the Nexus over here, but it does have a quite nice laser autofocus, which is not the greatest. LG is the one that implemented this. Optical image stabilization is definitely better than digital, but both work just as great. When you do have videos going on here, I do think that the iPhone kind of makes this a lot better. So yeah, that is all to do with the camera and its interface. Okay, so when we get to apps and games over here, I'm going to show you some games. Let's see how fast they run over here. Let's go to Angry Birds in the app drawer over here. Angry Birds 2 on both. 1, 2, 3, bam. Which one goes faster? I did click the Nexus 6P, by the way. Let's see what happens. So, straight away, saturation. Look at the Nexus 6P. Saturated, saturated, saturated. Good or bad thing? Really, really good. It's a game. You don't have to compare it to anything realistic. You just have to look at it and know that it looks great. But wait, what's happening here? I can already play my iPhone game. I'm so excited. Let's play. Woo! I was so bored looking at that Nexus screen. Oh, look at that. You can play Nexus. Which one to play? Let's first mute this on the iPhone. Let's show you some of the sound here on the Nexus. So, no muffling, 2 stereo speakers over here, which is very nice and premium. You can barely see them with the black, it looks very nice. You see the saturation of the colors there. If you compare it to the iPhone over there, you see the iPhone is actually very white compared to the Nexus is blue. Also the color of the wood of the little pieces are standing on, it's a little bit darker and more premium. So this is all the sound coming out of the Nexus. So let's shoot someone. Whoa! Woo! Okay, so the bottom speaker is supposedly meant to be softer. It's actually meant to be softer than... Sorry, I just need to drop this. This is crazy. Okay, there we go. So, on the Nexus, the bottom speaker of the Nexus is actually supposedly softer than the top speaker. I haven't noticed it, but then again, I don't like put my ear here and try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, that's just not what I do. So on the iPhone speaker front, you'll see that the speaker is actually placed at the bottom over here. It does kind of suck when you are gaming, because when you're playing a game like Angry Birds and you want to turn the volume up, straight away it's a bit softer, you can tell that. But I really want to get into the game. Where did the sound go? Oh, there it is. No. Oh, no. Oh. Okay, so that is the muffling of the speaker. Really sucks. Also on the Samsung and the LG. The only phones that seem to do the front-facing one is HTC. That's why they're doing the Nexus, hopefully. The next Nexus. And then the HTC did actually remove it in this year's lineup with the HTC 10. But yeah, let's give this a go. On the iPhone, see how it runs. Runs quite well. Good explosions. Nice action. Movies look great on these phones. Oh, I didn't get that little sucker over there. So, let's now exit this game's front of Angry Birds. Let me show you something else while that is running in the background. We'll get to that in a second. Temple Run 2, I did open earlier today. It is not in my app's background. You will see that when I click it, because it needs to start it up. So, loading. Google Play Games. I do not want to do this right now. Oh, look at that. We can play here. Ooh, scary monster. Sounds like he's doing something very wrong. Okay, let's pause that. Let's move on to the Nexus. Let's now flop this. Oh, I get so confused with the speaker. There we go. Sound already great. The saturation of the screen, awesome. Don't have to compare it to anything realistic, so it looks superb when you're gaming on a device. So you can even hear that a bit better. Yeah, let's exit that. Okay, so exiting both. Now they're both in the background. Let's go on to the next app that we want to open up. Next app is going to be music. Let's see which music will open quicker. Boom. Apple, good work, buddy. So let's go find what was playing. I actually want to find Monster by Eminem. It is a great song. I'm actually spelling this wrong. No, iPhone. There we go. So let's listen to some of this quick. Bring that up, skip that forward. So, sounds great. Sounds good. I like it, but it's just good. That's all it is. It's only good. When we get to the Nexus, it's great. I dig this. It's like I'm in a whole house party here. I can invite like 50 people over, and they'll all be able to hear this right now. So there we go. We have that done over there. Both minimized now. Let's go on to the next thing, and that is Google. Let's try Google something. We're both on the same Wi-Fi network over here with Google opened up. First thing I want to spot out for you here, saturation wins almost everywhere. The only place it loses is with whites. Whites do not look that great. Look how white the white is on the iPhone, and look how white the white is on the Nexus. It's not even comparable. The Nexus wins hands down. So let's Google hi on both of these phones, and it'll probably pop up with Hawaii. No, hi online. There we go. Both just as quick. Let's try going to this hi online place over here. These are the same. Let's see how fast they boot. Both same Wi-Fi network. This is obviously just the bands talking now. Already opening up on the Nexus, showing us some really cool stuff. Oh, wow. So it was opening up quick on the Nexus, but then iPhone just went boop. Here we go. Check out the loading bars over here. The iPhone's actually ahead of the Nexus. So yeah, there we go. The iPhone, oh no, Nexus 1, but just by a hair. So yeah, that is it. Now let's, I accidentally closed Chrome on here. Let me open Chrome again on here. I just want to see how these apps now run when we open them up in the app manager over here. So let's go first to Angry Birds 2. Let's see how quick they open. Okay, Nexus actually a bit quicker there. That's quite crazy. So okay, so let's now go to the next best thing, Temple Run 2. Okay, exactly the same. Resume and die on the iPhone. Okay, next thing over here, let's open up Chrome on both of these guys. Both already open. And now let's open up, last but not least, our little music player over here. Okay, a little bit quicker on the iPhone. So, if you had to give it to me, preferable winner, maybe I would go for the Nexus. Why? Because it's half the price of the Apple. Why is the Apple so expensive? It's been out for more than 6 months now. The Nexus was about $700 when it released. Now you can get it for $400 apparently. I'm from South Africa, so no prices in rands. In the States, the iPhone, I'm not sure, but over here, it's like 20,000 Rand, 18,000 Rand. That is like, what, $1,500, I guess you could say, for the iPhone, which is a bit ridiculous. So yes, the Nexus is definitely better when it comes to that. Perks of these two: 3D touch, awesome. Wake up, always on, also really cool. I prefer the back fingerprint sensor on the Nexus to the iPhone's front one. I do prefer having a home button. It is quite nice. Both have awesome cameras, so you'll run away with a great phone at the end of the day no matter what you get. There's different features on both of these phones. both great phones. No matter what you choose, guys, please leave me a comment below and let me know what you think is the better phone. I do think that this is the best Android phone on the market until the next Nexus, and this is the best Apple phone on the market at the moment until the next Apple phone. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and also I will quickly be briefing about the possible contenders. The reason why these phones are still being reviewed today, especially by me, not just because I'm a new and upcoming reviewer, but especially because these phones will get replacements in 3 to 4 months time in September. They will be announced and then they will be released. What do you want these phones to look like next? Please let us know, guys. Also, the iPhone, I think it would be awesome. Cut out the bezels, at least on the side. Maybe get more of a glass finish, but still just as strong. Waterproofing would be great. Throw in an SD card slot and everyone will be smiling. There are rumors that there's going to be no earphone jack and it's going to be wireless earphones or coming through the Lightning or USB port type C. Maybe they're just going to go all out, but I'm telling you right now, if Apple do not step up their game, they might be suffering next year. From the 5S to the 6 was a big jump. From the 6 to the 6S wasn't too big, but that's how Apple works. The S jump is not the hugest, but this was definitely the biggest S jump ever. I will soon put up a video of how this S jump was bonkers. Other than that, the Nexus 6P, I would like to see HTC keep these dual facing speakers with the fingerprint sensor at the back, because that is great. Maybe pump up the camera quality, put optical image stabilization in, maybe optical image stabilization in the front selfie like the HTC 10 actually does have, maybe also waterproofing, and throw in an SD card in here. It should actually be easier to do it with the Nexus because it's an Android phone. Why not put in the SD card slot? Because you also want to steal people's money just like iPhone. So that is the future contenders. It is definitely contending with the current contenders: Samsung Galaxy S7, S7 Edge, LG G5 and HTC 10. I think that these guys are pretty heavy contenders even though they released the end of last year. Let me know what you guys think below. That is my video. I hope you enjoyed the review. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of everything. Bye.